Welcome to the Jam Yearbook. I'm Matt.
And I'm Jim.
We're here to take you on a journey through the years as
Wait, Matt, stop. We finished that journey last week.
Screeching Hall. Yeah, okay. So
Uh-huh.
how about this? We're here to drink beer and talk about music. And we
Yeah.
don't plan on running out of either anytime soon. It's going to feel good to finally retire that intro.
Yeah, it is. I think it was getting a little robotic for us, and
Yeah.
that's better. I like that. We'll have to come
Yeah.
up with something drinking beer and talking about music.
Yep.
It's a work in progress for us.
Oh yeah, it's going to be. It took us a while to settle on that one. So, but hey, we've completed covering all of the years in our lifetime, and it's time to shift gears. But before we put everything completely behind us, we got to do one final wrap up. No Reaper, just wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Exactly. We have some people to thank and a few more songs to share, and we need to let listeners know the new direction we plan to take the Jam Yearbook in.
Yeah, after a few shows, it dawned on us that we had put an expiration date on this with only covering the years we've been alive. Then we started doing genre specials and cleanups and this and that to get a little more life out of the show. It would have been just like our friendship to come to the end of the yearbook and then completely and entirely disappear from each other's lives again.
Bye, Matt. See ya.
Exactly.
Nice
the old Irish goodbye. don't even say goodbye. Just leave.
Yeah, just leave. It's not happening this time, Matt. We're going to do this at least until we get a beer sponsor.
Oh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. I like that.
Yeah. We hinted at it in version 1987, but I think we've been looking forward to a change. Taking the same approach for over a year has had some great moments, but I'm looking forward to not being handcuffed to listen to a single year's music each week going forward. Don't get me wrong. I think we've self-educated ourselves a bit. When we were young, I know we both took a lot of pride in being sharp as a tack regarding knowledge of music. It definitely.
Hey. That's my word. I say definitely a lot. That's my word.
It slipped away the older that we've gotten. The more we do this show has helped reinvigorate a part of me. And I really feel like I've gotten more in tune with music again.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my word.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad.
100%.
Exactly. I think I say that a lot too. Hopefully it's all in long-term storage. Cramming like we did every week. I'm surprised there wasn't more confusion on our part beyond not being able to count to 5 consistently every week. And again, beer. Thank you. Because there were definitely see, I said it right there.
Yeah, you did.
A few stop starts. We got to make sure we're on the right path. And we'll get into how the show is going to morph in a little bit. We opened the playlist up for listeners to add songs they wanted, and we're going to follow suit. And we're going to each add one final song ourselves. Some from It's Not a Poll were so good they were already on the playlist. Sorry, great minds think alike. They're great songs. Yeah. That's why they're there in the first place. And a lot of those were from the poll. So, hey, it's not just us. Maybe we can find covers of those songs to add, or in case of Torn, we can add the original from Edna Swap. Why not? The playlist is a complete and total, utter monster. You can certainly put it on while you're cooking or mowing the lawn or even just chilling out. Just don't have high hopes on hearing a specific song. You might have to wait a while. We knew it was going to be huge. It's over 67 hours long now. So if you got a cross-country trip or you're going camping for the weekend, bring us along. You can make it a game. Is this Matt? Did Matt put this on? Did Jim put this on? Or you might even have that moment where, oh shit, that's my song. I put that on the Jam playlist. Or you know what? Just survive it. Sometimes that's all you got to do. Just survive.
That's all. Matt, as of today, with the latest updates, it has 1,000 songs. So I've included the songs that are on this show. They've already been added to the playlist. And it's actually 67 hours and 59 minutes of music.
Now I want to find an alternate version of a song just to get us over that hump.
I used to have a playlist that I talked about when this show started that was 56 hours long, and I thought that was a monster. Now it takes you a couple of minutes to scroll to the bottom if you're looking for something on this. But what's cool is I've had the playlist on recently. I was on vacation at the start of July, and I was listening to it consistently, and I didn't have a repeated song. And it just kept going. It served as the radio. It's got 7 decades of music in it because we did the Summer of Love version 1967.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So It is just a monster of a playlist that if this was all I had to listen to for quite an extended period of my life, I probably wouldn't be very disappointed by it.
No, I'd be very happy. And hopefully other people think that too. And hopefully we've given people motivation or we found some rabbit holes that they themselves can go down.
I hope there are songs that we put on that playlist that they wouldn't have found themselves and became a favorite of theirs because they heard it from us,
Yeah.
which we hope is going to be the future of the show. But we'll get to that. We're going to thank a lot of people in this episode for such great engagement so far. And a wonderful friend of mine, we're going to start with Julie Ricker, has always contributed great songs when we've run our polls for the playlist each week. So thank you, Julie. I might put up 10 songs and then Julie would add 10 songs and they all deserved to be there.
Oh yeah. You could really tell when we covered a year that was meaningful to people. There were a few, I think Julie may have well just been a guest on the show. She could have sustained the whole episode by herself. That's so, I love that kind of participation. Yeah, there were a few episodes I think we could have just wound Julie up and let her go, and she would have just carried the whole episode by herself. It would have been awesome.
Yeah, she definitely could have
Yeah,
done that.
it's a great feeling when we connect with people like that.
And we allowed people to add 5 songs as they wanted to the playlist at the end here. And we're not going to talk about all of them. We're going to kind of pick and choose a few of them. So apologies if you put 5 songs or a few songs on there and we don't pick every single one of them. But I do need to talk about a couple of songs that Julie added straight away because she was quick to add them. And I was really happy to see I Don't Want to Live on the Moon by Jim Henson added. I say Jim Henson, but it's really Ernie from Sesame Street. You said in version 1972 that the Muppets played a big role in our lives growing up and how fitting it was to take them along through the end. I feel like this is the icing on the cake.
Oh yeah, the Muppets have been along the ride for our whole lives, and we've been able to share that with our own kids. And that's what's great about music. When you can share it and it gets carried on from generation to generation. And really just listening to the song doesn't do it justice. Go to YouTube and watch the clip of Ernie singing the song, right?
Yeah.
It just hits you in the heart. It's great.
It really does. It really does. And then staying with the moon theme, Julie also added the Grateful Dead song Standing on the Moon. It's a really wonderful, slow, bluesy Dead jam. Now, I don't want to offend anybody by saying this, but I think the Muppets and the Grateful Dead invoke some of those same warm feelings inside through music. I'm not calling the Grateful Dead Muppets, but they could have been. They kind of have that kind
I'm
of
surprised
character.
they didn't make that.
Yeah.
They could be
But
Muppets, especially Jerry.
well, they were larger than life, and some people have the same kind of lifelong admiration for them. I have never met anyone who went through a Dead phase and then stopped liking them.
Yeah, not too many casual Dead fans.
No.
At least that's not how I think of Dead fans. But then Julie added the Crash Test Dummy song At My Funeral. This was a complete, utterly total surprise for me. I almost added this in version 1991. I went with Androgynous instead, thinking At My Funeral was a little bit too heavy. But I'm not afraid of adding those, obviously, but kind of like instrumentals, you got to keep it brief. But when I saw Julie add it, I felt a little validation. I would have connected with somebody. So part of me is like, oh, maybe I should have. But then ultimately we get to add it anyways. It's dark, but there's beauty in that darkness. It's a really well-written song. And then Julie's last ad was Sing by Travis. I had never heard this before.
That really surprises me because I knew that song very well. It possibly could be just because they're from Scotland.
It could
be. That's the exposure. But I knew of this song 20 years ago or so when it first came out. But yeah, it's a great song.
I didn't follow through with them after The Man Who. And I think it's just where I was in my life musically. This is where I really turned away from radio and was more looking to find things on my own again. But it seems like such a good song for a sunny summer afternoon. But overall, Jim, when we opened up the Facebook page for people to add songs this week, people seem to be having trouble adding songs.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Maybe we needed to give them a tighter parameter than any song in your lifetime.
Hmm.
Because at least we limited ourselves to a single year every
Yeah.
week.
What's your favorite 80s song? Your favorite 90s song?
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
giving people limitations gave the playlist songs like this. Quite a few of them this week are ones I may not have even tried to listen to in the year that they were out. So it was good to know what others were listening to. Then turning away from Julie, we had a couple Marks in the audience too. I don't mean gullible people. I'm talking about my brother Mark Grenier and Mark Hool, a good old friend. Uh, Keep the comments coming, Mark. They're fun. Love it. You always make me laugh.
Yeah, they're always fun. And then the song that your brother added by Ski Whiff, You Just Made My Day, was exactly the reason that I'm glad we asked people to add songs at the end.
It kind of made your day, didn't it?
Oh, that song made my day. I finished the song and I just kept going into their catalog. I'd never heard of these guys before. There was a blend of Jurassic 5, and I've talked a lot about a newer band, The Allergies. There's something there that really kind of connected me to this. This is my kind of music, and it's one of those bands I'm going to keep going back to.
Oh, it's such a fun song. They even count to 5 and finish with Jurassic 6 right
I
near
heard that.
near the beginning.
Yeah.
So there's a tip of the cap there. There's obviously what's so there's obviously an influence there. And I get a little
Yep.
Summertime from DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince as
Yep.
well in the
I
B.
hear that.
But then he went dark with Paul Kelly's If I Could Start Today Again.
Yeah.
Overall though, thanks for adding Paul Kelly.
Hmm.
You know how there are musicians you see them around, they pop up, but for some reason you never check them out. Paul Kelly was one of those, and I kept kind of brushing aside. I'll get there someday. But I'm glad that this week I finally had a single song to go to, and it was really good. But it was dark, especially if you watch the video. It's a little dark. And then there's Hotel Lights with AM Slow Golden Hit. I love these lyrics. They not only sing about it, but this song is a sunrise. They say a lot with a few words. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
it's a really nice
reminiscing
song.
about dropping the needle on the vinyl and all the, as you remember, all those AM slow golden hits that you would
Yeah.
hear growing up.
Yeah, it's a really good song. This was new to me. I was really happy to get this week as well.
And it's great to have more First Aid Kit added to the playlist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we love them. He added their song Emmy Lou. Whenever we've talked about First Aid Kit, one of the first things mentioned is the slight country feel we get from them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this song is titled after Emmylou Harris. While it's not about her, they draw on certain relationships to describe a romanticized ideal of one. They sing about Emmylou and Graham Nash, June and Johnny Cash. I'll be your Emmylou. I'll be your June. If you'll be my Graham and my Johnny too. Those are great lyrics.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, superb. I love them. But the star of the show for me is Frankie Smith's Double Dutch Bus.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Mark, we had this 45, and I'm pretty sure my parents hated it because we played it so damn much. Even when I hear it today, because now that I'm 52, you hear a song, you can't help but have these memories. So there's a certain point in the song, there's like I guess I'll call it a bridge, where I'm fully and totally anticipating the skip that our record had. It's like I brace for it. It's like, shit, I got to go just knock it or stomp on the floor just to get that thing to go. And maybe if I had heard it for the first time when I wasn't 10, I wouldn't be so attached to it. But this song will always be the shizzle.
I don't blame you for feeling that way about it. It was fun. And it was one of those songs that I could definitely relate to when you let me know that it was something you listened to as a kid. I didn't know the song before this week, but it's a party song. I would put this on if I had friends around and everybody's standing, drinking in a room, having a good time. This is a song that would blend right in with everything.
Put it on,
unoffensively, have a good time.
Yeah.
So you talked about
sugar.
Sugar. You talked about the other Mark, and Mark, has put some great comments, as you said, and had us laughing on Facebook. And he went on a big spiel about Paul McCartney at one point and why we hadn't had more Paul McCartney songs on the playlist, because he's not. And I think as Beatles fans, as you and I both are, we had a more difficult time embracing Wings and Paul McCartney later in his career. And Paul was always kind of the cheesy Beatle. if
Yes.
I can say that without sounding foolish, because John was definitely the serious guy, and
The angry young man.
yeah, and George did his beautiful thing, and I added some John Lennon songs from maybe like 1980 or around those years, and Imagine, from 1971 was on the playlist. But Mark added the song Good Night Tonight, and I went and listened to it, and I liked it. It was cool. It definitely had that Paul McCartney feel through the whole thing. But was this, and no offense, Mark, as I say this, was this Paul McCartney's attempt to cash in on disco?
Oh, shots across the bow.
I don't mean to sound that way, but
I know. And Good Night Tonight. I love the song, truly. But there is a thing with some Paul McCartney songs where I just read the title. I'm like, wait, what is that song? And then I listen to it. And I'm like, oh shit, it's this song, right? It's got the drum beat, it's got the claves knocking in the background, the busy bass line. It's a close call, but you put a funky bass line on top of that drum beat, and you'll begin to wonder. But Paul is the master of great bass lines. He is phenomenal. Uh,
Mhm.
Mark had a great point about the lack of Paul McCartney on our playlist. He's very deserving. There are many close calls in many versions. But sometimes with these huge artists, I'll try to pick the song I want to add. But I couldn't just pick one from Paul McCartney. There's a lot. And sometimes I think about it's like, oh, Paul McCartney's got enough of the spotlight. Let's give it to somebody else. And that's probably weird coming from someone who's added multiple Prince and Ramones songs. I think I've even had 3 White Denim tunes, but that's more my point. It's like
Yes, you have.
there are some times where I'd rather shine a spotlight on maybe a forgotten artist.
And I think sometimes the songs just didn't make the poll, unfortunately.
Yeah,
because
and
they were stacked years, and they weren't our
totally
songs.
stacked.
But songs like Band on the Run, Jet,
Oh, great
Live and Let
album.
Die, even silly love songs. I had a K-Tel record as a kid that had silly love songs on it, and I loved that song. It's got a great bass groove.
Oh yeah, complete.
Yeah.
Totally love that bass line.
Yeah. So, Mark, we apologize for not having more Paul McCartney songs on, and maybe we'll do an episode in the new forward version of the Jam Yearbook where we address Paul McCartney post Beatles. That's a good idea, Matt. Write that down.
I'm writing it down.
There we go. And then I had Brandy join the cheese line with me. The cheese line, you get that? There's nothing to be offended by that statement. She had a couple of songs that were already on the playlist. I mean, who doesn't want to hear Hold On by Wilson Phillips twice? Don't you know things will change, things go your way.
If you hold on for
It's a
one more
great
day.
song. But she also added Phil Collins' version of You Can't Hurry Love, which
Mm.
you mentioned in the year that came out, how Phil stayed true to the original sounds. There was no snare delay gate going on like everything else he played in the 80s.
No, Delay Gate. You make it sound like a conspiracy. I like
It
that term.
was.
Delay Gate. Phil Collins Delay Gate. And I would have completely hated that song if he didn't have that percussion sound. It needed that Motown percussion sound to make that song. I'm very happy to have You Can't Hurry Love. That's a great song. It was one of my favorites growing up.
And I'm glad also that Brandy added U2's I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. When we hit 1987 and the Joshua Tree's Looking at You, I talked about how I listened to like one side of that cassette over and over again and never flipped it over, because those are great songs. We're still probably missing Where the Streets Have No Name. This is an amazing album, or Bullet in the Blue Sky.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my reaction to every song you
Yeah.
mention off the album, right? There's just too
Yeah.
many good options from that album.
But I'm so glad Brandy brought I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. With all the great songs that Joshua Tree has on it, it deserved another one at least to be added.
Yes. And then she added one that I was completely surprised wasn't on the playlist yet. Our Lips Are Sealed by the Go-Go's.
Yeah, I'm the Go-Go's guy. I added a lot of Go-Go's.
Yeah, it needs to be there. This is a great, great song.
Yeah. And a lot of great songs were added, but the final star of the additions for me came from my friend Darren. She added the Regina Spektor song Après Moi, which translates to After Me. The song is sung in both English and French and has really cool, strong elements of cabaret or burlesque. It was just such a joy to listen to that. I'd never heard it before. And when I saw her I think she was the first one to add a song. So thank you, Aaron. You broke that ice. But as soon as you had that opportunity, you put that there. And I went and listened to it straight away. I was like, this is a really good song. So everybody go listen to Regina Spektor's Après Moi.
Oh, please do. Thank you, Aaron. There were 3 songs that made me do a mental fist bump when I saw them. I probably did a physical one too, but they were mainly mental ones. It was Crash Test Dummies, Frankie Smith, and this one from Regina Spektor, Après Moi. I was all over this album. She slides some Russian in there because that's her heritage.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a breath of fresh air. It's a song where you don't know where it's going to go because from the very beginning, you're like, this is unlike anything I've ever heard.
Yeah, these are all great songs. And thank you, everybody, for adding them because they definitely filled the playlist out. 1,000 songs with all of the ads.
Woohoo.
Now, Matt, we're going to make it 1,002 because we are going to put the final 2 songs on the playlist. And as the cards would fall this week, it would be a you get to go first week. So what is the final song you're going to put on the playlist?
Oh, I wonder if people are wondering what songs we're going to add, Jim, because we've added so many. What else is there to add?
I think these are going to surprise people.
I think I will too, because I'm adding one final Slade song called Goodbye to Jane. I was listening to the Jam Yearbook playlist the other day, and their song How Does It Feel came on. I absolutely love that song, and it sent me down a Slade rabbit hole. And I got to thinking about our last year that we covered, 1972. I was so enthralled and in love with the soul hits that we were finding that it put some blinders on me. So I did some thinking, and I realized one of the things missing from rock today is the glam element. It was fun. It was a bit silly. The outfits were outrageous, but the music was great. It seems that much of today's music is about the cool factor. We've brought it up before, mostly about rap, trying to come off as being too cool to give a shit, but it's not just rap. It's rock too. Everything's got this attitude. It's maybe afraid of putting the guard down and just saying, shit, this is me, take it or leave it. And and that's what Slade was. You will watch the video for this song. They look like they went thrift shopping for their clothes and said, oh, these mirror discs, I'm going to put them on a top hat and we're just going to go. It's fun. And this is what I'm finding missing in today's rock music. I might be in the minority of people listening, but I love this band. This is a fun rock song. We need more. Like I said, we need more of this glam element. I think in the last 20 years, the Darkness, 20 years ago, they released their debut album. That might have been the closest thing we had to just fun in rock. It's one thing for the Foo Fighters, right? They just come out with jeans and t-shirt, but they built up that reputation over years.
Oh,
we need groups to come out and just not take themselves so seriously.
Yeah, it's a great final edition, and Slade doesn't get enough credit for how much they influenced rock and roll ahead of them.
Oh, preach, man. Love this band.
For some reason, everything had to become dark and moody after grunge.
Yeah.
And more so the arrival of nu metal. Those are my feelings, but that's it. I miss those days of just fun music with a bit of tongue-in-cheek quality. Remember those hair metal videos you'd watch back in the day, or even Eddie Van Halen would wink at the camera in a music video and smile, even if they were playing something serious, a song like Panama. But they could also come out with a song like Hot for Teacher.
We're having fun and kicking ass.
Yeah. And that is missing from music today. Everything, I think, for some reason, it became about my feelings with all of this music.
And relating to people. People relate to fun too.
Yeah, don't take us as criticizing you for relating to your music and being close to it and having those human emotional moments with it. I've talked a lot in this show about how songs by REM have really affected me one way or the other. I spoke last week a lot about David Bowie
Oh,
and that album.
we've quoted lyrics upon lyrics of how things connected with us. Yeah.
Bonnie Vera has had Matt crumbled in a corner in tears.
Yes.
So
Literally.
there's this happens to us too, but we don't need all the music in the world to be something
Deep,
that we have.
meaningful.
Yeah. I feel bad for people today because I think that if it's rock, it has to be moody or cool. You can't have any loss of pretentiousness with it. You can listen to pop songs. You can listen to Happy by Pharrell. You can listen to a new Miley Cyrus tune. You can all clap your hands on the dance floor and shake your ass and have a good time with it. And that's letting go and being free and having fun with pop music. But heaven fucking forbid somebody try to make a good, happy rock song, and it just isn't as acceptable as it was to us growing up.
LMFAO. We need more of that. Well, maybe not that, maybe not
But
them,
rock
but
version of
yeah,
LMFAO.
rock version of that. That would be awesome.
And not Weezer. We don't need Weezer to just do this for us.
No, stop with the wheeze.
Yes.
There's more than Weezer out there. Everybody just drop the pretentiousness. Have some fun with making music again. Please, I'm begging you. All right, Jim. Boy, that's we ended up on a nice soapbox right there. So
we did. We got a little rant in at the end here.
We did. We haven't done that in a while. It felt good. So that's my song, Slade, Goodbye to Jane. How are you going to end this playlist for the Jam Yearbook?
Well, I hope people are still interested by this point. I've been left with the amazing honor of placing the final song on the playlist. I forgot about this one when we did version 1995, so I've been waiting for this very moment. The song is The Spirit of 76 by the band The Alarm. I brought their song Rain in the Summertime already, but this is one of my favorite songs of all time, The Spirit of 76. I had one of the biggest holy shit moments ever with this song just a few years back. I've always loved it. It was a great car ride song that you just had the windows down and you're singing along to. The guy doesn't have this incredible hard range to reach. You can sing along with the whole song the whole way through. It's fun. It's got a lot of lyrics. You learn it. It just keeps going. It's the story kind of going on. But okay, Jim, get on with it.
Yes, get on with it, Jim.
I was in Liverpool in 2019 and I looked up at the sign that said Matthew Street outside the cavern where the Beatles grew to fame from. Suddenly, the lyrics from this song popped into my head. I got chills, goosebumps, whatever you want to call them. The lyrics are, our friendship formed of pure innocence. We first met in Matthew Street when we heard something that would set us free. A sign stands over a door. It says, 4 lads who shook the world. I was standing in the exact spot the song was talking about, singing the song at 17. And then there I was at 48 years old, 3,500 miles away in that same exact spot from the song. The song also has some great sentiments about time spent together in a close circle of friends when you're young. And Matt, we've been there together. We know what that's like. It always stays close to the heart, and it's a great place to revisit. We were those young lads once. So that's my song. End of monologue, cut scene. That's it.
And way back in version 1987. So like 2 weeks ago.
Way back.
Way back. Going the way, well, not so far back machine. I was wondering if The Alarm was a new group to me. No, this is the song I remember. It's amazing. It's such a great song to drive and just sing your heart out to. And the music, it just flows and it evolves as it goes on. It feels like one of those songs that was written in 5 minutes. Like it just came out of the ether to them. It's just so natural sounding. And it's got a Springsteen lyrical element to it, that storytelling. At the beginning, I'm like, oh, this has a little bit of Bryan Adams-esque to it, but then you get the U2 element. The Alarm, they're a really good band. I love this song.
Yeah, it's fun. The song itself is also broken down in different parts, like you said.
but it flows. All those parts just flow seamlessly.
Yeah, but it allows you to catch your breath to sing the next part as it comes along.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about the direction the show would take, but we need to first take a few moments to thank some people for the past year and a half of engagement with the Jam Yearbook.
These people have kept us going and really have motivated us to keep the show moving forward.
Yeah, we should probably start with Kim and Linda.
Definitely and absolutely. They've had a lot of patience.
100%.
Yeah. They've had a lot of patience with our podcasting conversations.
And then we have Harry and Mercedes. They help shape a lot of my thoughts now around modern music and how I should be paying attention again. They may have even influenced the future of this show.
They have. And the one thing the main thing I took out of our conversation with them is we weren't alone in some of our thoughts on a lot of the modern music and some of the music in the past.
It was nice to relate to young people again.
And my brother Mark has contributed weekly to the poll, and he even joined us on an episode for version 1997. He was our very first guest.
He was. And then there's my camp friends. I spoke of Julie Ricker. There's Mary Beth and our British correspondent, John de Gruyther. He put together a couple of great parts for the show.
I'll call the next group our hometown heroes of the show. Carrie, Melissa, Mark Cole, Chris Hardy. Great engagement. Thank you guys. Love you all. Great song additions to the playlist. We also just can't express enough how much we thank you for the support. We've known them as long as we've known each other, or even longer in some cases, and we appreciate that they still listen to our bullshit music conversations.
And then there's Kirsty and my old buddy from college, Craig, or Cheshire as we know him now. He was always good to add a Grateful Dead song when we were overlooking them, and we could count on Kirsty.
Oh, is he the Terrapin Station guy?
He is. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Craig.
Thanks, Craig. And then we could always count on Kirsty for a Taylor Swift song whenever that came around. But she helped us give Taylor a second look. And we found out we were going to get off that hate train and appreciate her music a little more and what she's been doing.
Yeah, you even bought her vinyl and tickets to see her in concert.
Yeah, and Paramore as well. I never, ever would have done that without this show.
Yeah, and it was good because basically any hate that we were projecting towards Taylor was all because it was new and it was pop and it was just not quote unquote deep or thoughtful and meaningful. And when
we also
that's all bullshit.
I talk about the hate train. We were just riding along with other people who have that same. And it seems like now the more and more people that I go to and say, hey, I'm going to go to see Taylor Swift, or I listen to this and I like it, they all look at me and go, yeah, I like it too. Yeah, cool. No, you're lucky. You know, awesome. And it surprises me. Some of the people who have told me that they are Taylor Swift fans. It's one of those things where I think you don't have to worry about being one of the cool kids anymore. It's okay. So
yeah, and it's great that she's reached that level of success where she doesn't have to be prey to predatory contracts or any kind of deal. She can just do her own thing, and that's not a bad thing, everybody.
No.
Sometimes you got to stick up for yourself and take control of your own destiny and maybe recontrol your past as well. So kudos to Taylor for doing that. And we have to give a big thank you, and I mean a big, huge Braveheart or Viking kind of thank you to Sandy. You brought him on the show, Jim, but he helped me reconnect to my metal roots, and I was able to dig out a lot of music I used to really enjoy.
Yeah, it was great to have Sandy on for a couple of shows. And
Come on, Sandman, bring it on. Let's bring some more metal. Come on, let's go.
And then there, Brandy, who I mentioned earlier, and Alicia, they were my old Sirloin Saloon crew. They added some great songs. It's amazing to have these people contributing. I actually put Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass on the vote this week. And
that should have just been we should have just automatically been on anyway.
But it made it. It's got enough votes. It's gonna make it on the playlist. So Brandy, you're a fine
girl. What a good wife you would be. Great song.
It's a great song. And finally, we want to thank all the, what I would call the silent contributors. Maybe they didn't fill in the comment box much, but you would see them add songs. Wendy, well, you definitely know she loves great party music.
Yes.
And my friend Ewan Walker would randomly, now and again, we'd put up a year and suddenly this metal song would slip into the poll. He might have even realized it wasn't going to make it, but he was going to make sure that he put it there. And it's nice that he was paying attention. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because somebody else might have seen that and said, wait, what is this song? And then you never know, you could have created a new fan.
Yeah. And then my friend Ben, who always made certain that we didn't miss out on Daft Punk and we gave them a mention. He was always there. And I really want to thank Ben and Ewan, because they're two young guys who I sit with every few weeks and have a cup of coffee, and they both listen to the show and we talk about what you and I are doing. And they give me some perspective as listeners that we don't get from the engagement from the Facebook page. And they talk about, well, maybe you should try this out, or you should try that out. And they really kind of helped us develop the future of the show in a roundabout way, because after a coffee morning with them, I came back to you and I said, look, I think this is the right thing for us to do. And we've agreed on it. And that's the direction it's going to go in. So Ewan, Ben, thank you.
Hey, thank you guys. And really, what we're doing is meaningless if people don't listen, and people won't listen if you're not giving them what they want.
Yeah.
So any feedback is great. And before we go too long, this is like the credits to a movie or a CD inlay that nobody reads. So let's continue.
Yeah, but and we hope people continue on this journey, because it still is going to be one for us. But Matt, in the words of Dylan, the times they are changing.
We've run out of years to cover, and it's finally time for us to shift gears. Starting in August, we're going to release the show bi-weekly. Well, on the 15th and the last day of each month, whatever those days might be. It's not going to always be a Tuesday from now on.
No, it just coincides that the 15th of August is actually a Tuesday.
Oh, way to make me look like a schmuck.
No,
man.
That's fine. On the 15th, we'll be doing a review of the music released in the previous month. We'll be starting a new playlist, so this one gets put behind. And the next playlist is just going to be Jam 2023 or something along those lines. And it will be music that we've discovered released during this year. So on the 15th of August, we will review the new music that came out during the month of July. Why are we not doing it as the end of the month show? Well, as I pointed out to Matt earlier before we started the show today, there's music that came out yesterday on the 28th that was good. There's Fridays are release days. So we need time to listen to that stuff. And what we really want to do is go find that new music and bring it to you, and hopefully give you something new to listen to, instead of always having to dig back to your nostalgia days and come out saying, I can't find anything to listen to, because there's some new music out there. Instead of being wrapped up in nostalgia, we're going to let you know what's good.
And you know what's great about nostalgia is you can make new nostalgia every day.
Exactly. That's why we need new music, because you need that music to live by within those memories that you're going to carry down the road. I liked thinking back to those days in the 80s and in the 90s and early 2000s. We seem to be kind of absent after that time for an extended period, but it was fun to go down that road. But I can tell you, when I would make playlists on Spotify, it'd be a lot of those same songs over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with having your favorite music and having a music collection, but then I'm jealous of somebody like Sandy, who has something like 15,000 CDs on his
getting
wall.
more every day.
Yeah. And always moving ahead, because at the same time, I know he's also still going to throw some AC/DC on once in a while and have a good time, but he's not just going to stay in the past. He's going to get something that's new and move forward. And that's what we're really looking forward to.
Yeah. Make new memories. They're always making new music, and a lot of music is tied to old memories. Listen to new music, make new memories. There's something I kind of like to say as you're getting older. Once the weddings stop, the funerals begin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Make more weddings, make more positive moments in your life. Listen to new music. Mm-hmm. Guarantee you, from 2000, probably 2010, 12 to 2019, 20, it's been kind of a shit show. But Jim and I, we've been talking back and forth, and there's been some really good new releases lately.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can find those, spotlight them, bring them to you, and hopefully help you make new memories.
Yes, that's what we want to do. We'll cover anniversaries of big albums and other subjects, but the focus is going to be on what's new and what has been good.
And one thing that we have to keep in mind is when we're recapping music from a month, that's probably our initial reaction. You know how sometimes you listen to an album and you're like, or, oh, that's great. Well, give it a few weeks rest and you might have a different, feeling apart from your initial reaction.
Mhm.
So we'll try to do our best to, to listen to something more than once.
And Matt, you have to do me a favor here. Do not get prescriptive. You do not need to listen to every single new release that comes out in the month.
No, I do not.
You do not need to.
Not at all.
You could make this harder for yourself. Listening to a year's worth of music over the course of time and getting ready for a show, or just listening to a single month.
But I tell you, if I see Kool and the Gang has a new release like they just did, I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So then at the end of the month, we're going to focus on different subjects around music. I think when Matt and I started doing this, we thought we'd be discussing our own personal philosophy a little more around music, but then we just discovered there was too much to cover. Then we just discovered there's too much to cover each year. And geez, we would have had like a 4-hour show outside of trying to get through all the music. There's so much music. And while the new format allows us to talk more about new music, the end of the month show will still let us revisit some nostalgic moments. We've been really nice going through the years and holding back our inner dickheads because we know music is subjective to the listener, but we're not always going to be the nice guys anymore. In fact, we already decided today that the end of August episode is going to be yacht rock.
And yeah, I think yacht rock might be the last genre or niche that we kind of have to cover. Maybe we'll have other people chime in.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it, so I think it'll be fun. We're going to go back to a lot of 70s AM radio, but it'll be interesting to see if yacht rock is still being made today.
Oh. Yeah, you might call it indie rock, Jim.
It probably is. Look, none of it is Seals and Croft. We have to find modern day Seals and Croft or Loggins and Messina or
no, we don't need to find Loggins and Messina.
No, we don't need to find that.
Yeah. Or maybe a Moody Blues, the little Doobie Brothers. Yeah, we'll find some of that stuff as we go along. Yeah. But I really look forward to the new direction of the show and how we're going to continually evolve this thing.
And I hope people listen for the first few episodes, at least, just because it's going to be very different moving ahead. And we've probably dropped some listeners because of our, monotony of the intro or doing the same thing every week.
It's like, I don't want to listen to 19 or 2016. Trust me, we didn't either.
Yeah. When I started to talk to you about the show at the beginning, I was kind of surprised that we wound up doing it every week because that probably wasn't going to be initially how I looked at doing it. Because
I wanted to go every other week.
I did too.
Jesus Christ, dude. Why didn't we do that?
I don't know.
A year a week. It's not like a great sacrifice. It's just listening to music. But holy crap, trying to cram it all into the week. It's kind of hard.
It is hard.
Because as at the very beginning, I would try to want to find unsung heroes or those forgotten things or things that never were a gem to begin with. Because I didn't want it to become classic rock radio. I didn't want it to become, hey, we're going to talk about Pink Floyd and Jay Giles Band and the Rolling Stones every week, right?
And I think you did well at that. I think where I chose a lot of the pop music because that's where I kind of come from. There were times that I looked at your choices and I was like, oh, here comes Matt again.
Yeah.
It's something nobody has ever heard about.
But you had a couple of those too as well. Don't sell yourself short. And I think between the two of us, we got not all the bases, but we got quite a few of the bases covered.
We did. Matt, how do we wrap this up?
Well, we wrap it up usually by saying where we're going next. Where we're going next is we're going to recap
2023. Yeah.
So August 15th, tune in and we will recap 2023.
We will.
That sounded clunky, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
We are a little
figuring this
clunky.
out as we go along.
But don't worry, everybody. At the end of every episode, I will still say peace, love, and podcast.
Peace.